All right. Good morning, friends. Thanks for joining us here today. Journey Home Meditation for the Morning Sit. I am Michael, and I am discombobulated to be here today. Yeah. Reminds me of that scene in the Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr., where he's planning out how to defeat the other boxer, and he strike head, discombobulate. Kick inner thigh, discombobulate. Well, that was me this morning. That's been me this morning. Discombobulated. I decided to stay in bed a little longer than I usually do. It was warm under the blankets, and I was having a really lovely little sleep this morning. And wouldn't you know it, I felt rushed and out of sorts ever since. So, yeah, it's a good reminder for me that, that extra 25, 30 minutes lying under the blankets, it may not pan out to be the best idea for some of those other things that you have worked out to do. But then again, yeah, who's gonna lie on their deathbed and regret that extra 20 minutes of warmth in a comfortable bed? I don't know. I'm not. I hope. But yeah, this morning we are getting a later start here at Journey Home Meditation, and then once, of course, that begins to happen, then there's all sorts of technical issues that come up, and all sorts of I guess frustrations that start coming into mind. And it's always good for the practice to have these kind of minor frustrations, minor distractions, because then you can refocus the self and go into your practice at a time when the stakes aren't really high, right? The stakes aren't extraordinarily high when I'm just frustrated with my computer for doing a meditation sharing broadcast. No one's going to come to any harm if I miss a morning. Right? I've missed many mornings, and everything's fine. The sun rises. The trash is still taken out. So I'm not sure where the point of frustration comes in, but I think it's worth inspecting. I'm curious if it comes from these expectations of self based upon maintaining an identity. We have these ways of being, these identities that we take on, and to maintain that identity sometimes requires an awful lot of work. And that level of work to maintain an identity requires an awful lot of sacrifice, and it requires an awful lot of cognitive dissonance, right? We have to be willing to ignore evidence to the contrary of our belief. The belief of who I think I am, or the belief of who I think you are. All of these things lead to the maintenance of an identity that is not sustainable. And I don't know if maintaining an identity is ever sustainable, but I'm curious if that's where my frustration comes from. Things like the technology not performing the way that I expect it to when I'm trying to get online to do this thing. Now, of course, frustration's a natural component of the human emotional spectrum, right? So it's not about shaming or ostracizing frustration. It's about recognizing that, just like any other emotion, this is a doorway into understanding. It's a doorway into understanding our motivations, and I think that generally frustration is an uncomfortable emotion, and those uncomfortable emotions are the ones that really clue us into something we might be missing. When we start to feel that uncomfortable feeling, it's a signal for us, just like any other dis-ease, any other sickness, any other symptom. That discomfort that we're feeling is a symptom of change. Change is either there, or change is coming, change is needed. So when I start to get frustrated with myself, when I start to get frustrated with the time, when I start to get frustrated with somebody else and what they're doing, it's a really amazing opportunity to stop and go inside and see where it is that I'm keeping myself bundled, tied in knots. And so that's what I've been doing this morning, is trying not to rush. I used to have this rule in the kitchen: when you're in a hurry, slow down. Because being in a hurry makes us skip steps. It makes us go from the most sensible way and thorough way of performing a task to the quickest and shortest way, right? And I think that we do that with a lot of things, and I think that healing, this, especially with this sellable, marketable craze of healing that we see, that's like, it's, at least it's all over my internet. We have individual internets now, the algorithms invented by Al Gore. I don't know if you know that or not. That's why it's called the Al Gore rhythm. Terrible joke. But we have this this cultural meme right now that you can purchase into these programs for healing, and you're going to heal your trauma in 7 days, guaranteed. A lifetime of trauma in 7 days, guaranteed. If you just do these 39 easy steps 14 times a day, you'll heal your trauma in 14 days, guaranteed, or half of your money back, whatever it is. But we take any opportunity for a shortcut. People will often ask me, when concerning grief, do you have any tips or tricks for this? And I understand where they're coming from. I get it. I get the urge to want to be out of that myriad feelings of despair and anger and frustration and confusion and isolation that comes with grief and grieving. But the notion that we can shortcut that is not even a desirable offering if you really sit with it and think about it. And we have this way of being in our culture that we just want the quickest, shortest route to get from here to there, you know. So we have online dating apps that guarantee you a partner in a certain amount of time. We have weight loss programs where you can type in all of your information and your digits and everything that, you know, that makes you, right? Your weight, your height, this is you, in a series of numbers and a series of easy questions on a form on an app on your phone. And it will tell you, you know, to meet your goal, it will take 28 days, 46 days, however many days it is. If you just do this program for this many days, you'll meet your goal. Right? You'll get everything you want. And I think that urge to shortcut is completely human. Maybe it extends to all conscious, sentient beings. I don't know. But there is something about the recognition of how temporary this is that makes us want to cut the distance out of everything. So instead of walking, we create vehicles, right? We create carts and with horses. We create buggies. We create trains. We create cars, motorcycles, bicycles. And that's not fast enough, so we create super trains. That's not fast enough, so we create airplanes, jets. You know, there's always been this dream since I was a kid of, from Star Trek, you know, where you can phase in and out, and be someplace in an instant. And this is the promise of the internet, too. This is the promise of even this program right here. I don't know where you are, but from where I am to get to where you are, it's just a moment. Just a moment. And this is all okay. This isn't about judging these things, but it's about recognizing what is sacrificed in the shortcuts. And if given that we have a world that's sort of created now towards quicker, faster, more productive, taking your time is a revolutionary act. Taking your time is a way that we can reclaim a bit of who we truly are in the midst of the play. Imagine if you went to see a performance on stage of Hamlet. Right, this is generally a 2.5 hour, could be 3 hour performance, give or take, right? You go and they do the entirety of Hamlet in 32 minutes, unabridged, right? They just speak all the words extremely fast. Just get through it, get to the point. You'd feel pretty cheated. You'd step out of there and you'd go, what was that? I don't even know what happened. I couldn't even tell you what was occurring in those relationships. I didn't see any of the depth. I didn't hear the grieving. I didn't see the regrets and the resentments and the conniving ways in which our mind conspires to remove us from pain. I didn't see any of that. It was just this quick blur. And yet, when it comes to the play of our existence, right, the performance of our lives, we find these ways to shortcut ourselves, shortcut the experiences so that we don't have to worry about everything that goes on in between here and there. Right? We just want to get from here to there as quickly as possible, and there's all that space in between that we skip over. And so this practice, this meditation, is a practice of going from there to here, getting back to this moment. And we can do that multiple times a day. We can do that anytime. Once you start with the practice, if you find yourself shortcutting your experience by taking your mind someplace else, always worrying about the thing that you're late for, or that you don't have enough money for, or you don't have enough time for, or you don't have enough energy for, this repeated pattern of not enough, not enough, not enough. You can come to this practice, and it takes you from there, that other place you are in your mind that's wreaking havoc in your body. Stress hormones are shooting through the roof, blood pressure's spiking, insulin levels dropping, all of these things, right? These are all things that occur with just even small amounts of stress. Consider the amount of stress that the average Western person is under every day. And it is not at all surprising that we have the level of disease that we have in our cultures. Right? Level of cancers and diabetes and cognitive disorders and Alzheimer's and dementia and all of these things that even just a little bit of study into some of the research that's gone into the effect of stress on the body will tell you that the level of stress that we live with is toxic. And that's all because we're living there, not here. Right? Our mind is there. We're either rushing forward or looking backward, but we're not here. We've created all these vehicles that get us from here to there as quickly as possible. I can pick up my phone 24 hours a day and instantly go from here to there. Whatever is happening here, whatever discomfort, whatever feelings, whatever grieving, whatever fear, whatever sadness, whatever it is, I can bypass it in an instant. And so this was where the rule came from in the kitchen, is when you're in a hurry, slow down. Be present with what you're doing. You'll take the tip of your finger off if you don't. You'll ruin the dish, right? You'll over-season or under-season. You'll burn something. You'll undercook. Whatever it is, you will bypass all of those necessary experiences to get to the end result. And the end result, of course, won't be as enriched and full. And this is the number one regret that you hear from people on their deathbed, is, I wish I had slowed down. I wish I had spent more time doing very little. I wish I just sat with my family. I wish I laughed a little more. These are the things that people talk about regretting. So this morning, as I work through this frustration, this is the practice. This is the work that I'm doing. Is being able to remind myself through the breath. You can't bypass the breath. So take a slow breath in through the nose. And breathe out. Savor it. Savor that moment. Anybody who's ever struggled in their life with breath can tell you, when they're present with their mind and their breath and their body, and they remember what it was to struggle just to breathe. If they have a clear breath, you savor that breath. That breath is meaningful. And you can count the number of them. Each day you can count down. Every time we count a breath, we're counting down to the last one. So All this is to say, even when it's frustrating and even when things aren't moving at the pace you want them to or feel like you need them to, taking that moment to slow the breath, calm the mind, and be present with what is real right here, right now. Take a moment and watch a cloud move across the sky, or listen to the sound of a frog croaking out some beautiful song just to sing. Put your phone down and look your children in the eye when they're speaking, and listen to their stories, even if it's one you don't understand. Look deep into their eyes and marvel at this amazing experience that you are having in this moment. You're going to get there wherever you're going. Slow down, it's okay. And that's a difficult one for me, as it is for many of us. Being late is always being in a hurry, and being in a hurry is always being stressed out, and being stressed out is always being on the edge of sickness. That's true for my body. It might be true for yours. So, this really is a practice of health and wellness, and what we can offer to the world. So let's take just a couple moments to breathe together. I'm going to go ahead and bring in some light sounds so that we can close out anything outside of this moment and just really go inward. If you have headphones to listen, I recommend the headphones, but if you don't, that's fine too. And if you don't like the background music, then you can just turn the volume off. Breathe in and out through the nose to the bottom of the belly. Let your mind relax. Let your forehead relax, your eyes, your cheeks. Move on down the body. It's a simple practice, but sometimes it's the most difficult one to sit down to do. Convincing yourself of the benefits of it when you are activated and triggered, that's the work. That really is the work. But go ahead and come into a position that facilitates easy breath, straightening the spine, relaxing the abdominal muscles, letting the shoulders drop, bringing the shoulder blades together just slightly in the back. Breathing in through the nose and out. Watch as the belly rises and falls, as the diaphragm pulls downward, bringing air into the lungs, which then brings this breath through the body, nourishing every bit of who you are. And out. Slowly breathing in and gently releasing. Feel the gentle release with each out-breath. Like something wants to slowly climb up the body through the chest and right out of you as you breathe out. As you breathe in and out, feel the body begin to relax more and more into this unpressured state. When you're ready, you can begin to stretch the body as you breathe in and out. Thanks for being here this morning. Over the last 20 minutes or so, I've felt my body shift out of that frustrated, activated space where I couldn't even find my words and I was discombobulated. To feeling really a sense of peace and belonging. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have that return to here. Because there wasn't anything I needed over there. It wasn't doing me much good. I have everything I need right here. So thank you for being here. And with that, I'll leave you. Hariom.